Next question by Mr. Damian Busselager from the Greens, ITRE.
Thank you, Chair. Mrs. Vestager, you've already touched upon, the intersection of industrial strategy and competition policy, and I want to come back to that. In your last mandate, you consistently stood up against demands from member states to water down European rules of merger control and who wanted to somehow create European champions. We supported your position because strong competition rules allow SMEs and startups to compete fairly with incumbent firms and thereby protect the decentralized dynamism of all businesses, big and small. However, reading your written responses to our questions last week, it was unclear to me what exactly you meant by, and here I quote, A, developing tools to guarantee fair competition both in the single market and at the global level, and B, re-examining the practical aspects of our enforcement, including aspects such as market definition. So my question is, have you changed your point of view? Or more concretely, would you, after such a re-examination of the market definition, rule differently on a case like the Siemens-Alstom merger?
Thank you. Mrs. Vestager?
The short version is no. Because the thing in the Siemens-Alstom merger was not so much the merger as such. We're talking about two European champions who wants to merge, but couldn't or wouldn't solve the competition problems that we had. None in old school locomotives, none in trams, none in metros, none in metro signal and system, but in two specific markets of very high-speed trains and mainline signaling. And that will be exactly the same. The point is to say, when we do a market assessment, then what we're looking for is, would there be someone that customers can turn to if the merging businesses, they have higher prices or lower quality? And as long as you can turn to someone else, well, then there is still a market for you. And sometimes I think that may not be exactly sort of how you read the notice that we have on how we do this work. And if you just read the notice that is 20 years old, you may not get sort of the full value and quality of what it actually is that we're doing. I had two academics look at 15 cases in how we do this market assessment, and they found that we were in line with also how this is done globally. And that is the important thing. I really would like people to be able to read our rules and understand what it is that we're doing. The second thing is that I think it's very important that we also work with others here, because the integrity of the single market comes from a number of different sources. Will have to be fully implemented, and will, I think, also have to have some kind of reciprocity. I mentioned it before, but we invite a lot of people to come here and do business. The public procurement market in Europe is 14–15% of European GDP. It is 2 trillion euros. It's a 2 with 12 zeros in euros. It's a lot of money. We invite people to come and do business, and we are not invited back. And where I come from, if you're not invited back, well, then you stop inviting people.
Thank you. Mr. Busselager, follow-up.
Yeah, thank you for the short answer and for the long one. My follow-up question is a bit more on what you touched upon in your intro remarks on climate change and digital transformation as being the key trends, and I think they're interlinked to an extent. So my question is, digital technologies such as AI pose substantial opportunities to help our economy to become more climate neutral. And I mean, there are many examples, for example, that decentralized renewable energy production or optimizing energy usage can help us get away from fossil-based infrastructures. So what concrete policy measures will you prioritize to support the development of digital technologies that contribute to fighting climate change? And will you limit the rebound effect of additional energy and raw material consumption from digitization?
Thank you, Mrs. Vestager.
One of the things is obviously to make sure that we also have more digital technologies, because a lot of digital technologies, they are extremely energy consuming. I read about a quantum experiment, and once they turned off the bottom, basically they used the entire energy of the city I grew up in Well, it was not a big city, but anyway. So there's a lot to be done just within digitization in itself. One of the things that we are working on is a very important project of common European interest within batteries. And one of the things that I find personally very interesting is to include sort of the entire recycling practice of that. So that precious raw materials, the entire sort of logistics of how you use batteries is sort of part of the innovative process. Because I think if we push innovation also in how we organize ourselves, we can have much better use of the technology that we have already, and that will help us to increase speed in how we fight climate change. And part of that can be done with digital means, because you can follow resources to a different degree than what you could before. Here, of course, I will work with my colleague Maria Gabriel, because she will be head of the Horizon Europe project, and part of these processes will be funded by that.
Thank you.